So you guys really wanted the Magiblade video, huh? All right. A promise is a promise. Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're here in Crystal of Atlan, and as promised, I have for you the Magiblade guide. I honestly set this as like a goal. If we hit 9.5k subs within the week, I would do this guide. You guys did it within like a day and a half. So first off, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel so far. We are creeping up on our goal of 10k. Well, I've been trying to hit for quite some time, so I am very excited to be able to do that. If we can make it, we're still trending towards that direction, but we got to kind of keep the ball rolling. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that I do see you all and I do appreciate you. I do take time to read all my comments at the end of the night. It's one of my favorite things to do at the end of the night. You guys have been super supportive. It's been great. So just know that I am just as new to the game as the rest of you guys are that are playing. I didn't play CN, nor have I played any of the closed beta tests. So I am basically scrambling to learn everything I possibly can, whether it be what I do on stream, test with friends, read translated content from CN, whatever it happens to be. I'm basically doing everything I can to research everything I can to figure out and test everything I can to then bring you guys that information, which is why the Magiblade video took so long to make in the first place, because I had to actually get Magiblade to 60, play it, understand it, and then I can talk with you guys about it as far as my feelings on the class, how it plays, and how strong it actually is. This is a long way of saying, while I think this may not be perfect, the goal of this guide is to be helpful. It isn't to essentially tell you this is all the skills you have to use. It's to show you here's the skills that I personally use. Here's how I felt about the skills as I was going along the process of leveling. Here's what I'd recommend using. Here's what I'm not the biggest fan of, what might be related to PvP, but it isn't an end-all be-all. Proper full-on class guides, like exact calculations, will start coming up fairly soon, I'm sure, from those who are relatively mastered at their classes. This is supposed to be more of an introductory or kind of just an overall, I want to say like a pulse check to make sure that we're kind of on the same page as far as Magiblade goes. I've yapped on long enough. Sub if you want to keep up with the content. We're working towards 10k. Like if you enjoyed this video. Comment, you know, Magiblade over Berserker, or Berserker over Magiblade, whatever team you happen to be on, and let's go ahead and get started. So the Magiblade, the Berserker's much calmer Virgil wannabe brother, basically, when it comes to classes. Now the Magiblade plays, I mean, to say it plays different is pretty obvious, to be honest. As far as skills go, whenever we go through Magiblade or whenever I went through leveling Magiblade, as soon as I unlocked Magiblade, these two skills basically became useless to me. I mean, I kept the, of course, Blade Anchor on for a bit just because you don't have enough skills to fill out your bars, but it never really felt all that useful. So much like Berserker, when I found enough skills or when I got enough skills, this was dropped immediately and we never looked at it again. It's possible that there might have some use cases for this, but I just really never saw it as far as the skill went with Blade Anchor. Of course, you're going to grab your medium armor. That's pretty standard. You're going to take Wind Slash as you, just for your ultimate while you're leveling. So that's solid, does some good damage. You like it. And of course, we get our first passive at level 5. Enchantment, pretty solid, good stuff. Charge Blade, so we have our up and down attack. Again, standard things, and then of course our quick recovery. I love to see it. Have our extreme dodge. Love to see it. Cool. Now Arrow Blade. Arrow Blade's not bad to have when you don't have enough skills. This has actually got a pretty cool effect whenever you're jumping, where it kind of like locks onto the target and kind of like, you know, does some damage to them. I wasn't the biggest fan of this after I got the rest of my skills. It really just didn't feel all that great to utilize. You have to charge it, so it's not great. Even in the air, I mean, it's better, but it doesn't feel great. I would say use it early on, but you're eventually going to drop this for skills later. Same thing for Sword Tornado. It's okay. It does damage. It's a button you can press, but at the end of the day, it wasn't all that useful. So Swift Shadow. Swift Shadow is one of your passives. So you get an increase of 10 attack speed the last 10 seconds and stacks up to 10 times. This happens every time you use a skill. So any skill that you use, you get a stack of attack speed. And this is where you start to essentially start scaling up attack speed with Magiblade. As long as you're pressing a skill every 10 seconds, you will maintain that attack speed. And with a full roster of skills, that's not that difficult to do. Basically, as long as you're normal attacking in between, you're not just spamming all of your skills and then waiting for them to come off cooldown, you're kind of like, you know, spacing them out a little bit. It's pretty easy to maintain. It'll be easier to maintain later on too. Blade Dance, solid skill, really nice. You're able to pull targets in and AoE them. Like it a lot. Now, level 20 is when things start to get interesting. We get, first and foremost, Blinding Silhouette. So Blinding Silhouette gives us 3 charges. So it's 3 hits you get to do. And essentially you just do, actually no, I think level 20 doesn't do anything. Yeah, at level 20 doesn't do anything special just yet. So basically you just get 3 charges of a dash. So Pretty solid. Wild Dance makes it so every 30 attack speed, you get an increase of an extra hit on Blade Dance. Pretty solid, extra bit of damage, also guaranteed crit. So this mixed with the passive you have up here, the passive you have over here, which makes it so you stack up attack speed, makes it so your Blade Dance early on actually does quite a bit of damage. So as long as you have good your attack speed stacked up, Blade Dance is going to do awesome. Now, level 25, Legacy of Shadows. I'm really glad they make this so quick. Like, you start getting to this so quickly, because by level 30, you are kind of online when it comes to Magiblade, and you want to be paying attention to your Blinding Silhouette. This is going to be your most damaging skill, by the way. So no matter what point you are in leveling, make sure this is maxed out as far as it can be, because it's going to be your strongest skill. All right, so Legacy of Shadows. After casting Blinding Silhouette, the damage of the next Blinding Silhouette is increased for a period of time. This effect can be accumulated. So basically, every time you cast Blinding Silhouette, your next one does more damage, and then the third one does more damage. This is up for 5 seconds. You can stack up to 3 times the original damage. Now, here's the kicker. You're going to be able to reset this soon. So just keep this in mind. This is going to be really, really powerful. So we have Unsheath. Just does some damage. Pretty solid. I like the skill itself. It's nothing too crazy. It just does damage. It ticks to be useful later on for you anyway. So level 30, this is where Magiblade is fully online, is Blinding Silhouette combo. So during the Blinding Silhouette combo, you're going to get a bar, and that bar you're going to be able to fill. As long as that bar is full by the time you do your third Blinding Silhouette, it resets the cooldown on Blinding Silhouette, meaning that you will be able to Blinding Silhouette multiple times in a row. Now, each time you do this, it gives you less and less time to make sure that bar is full, because you only get a couple of seconds between each Blinding Silhouette to maintain the actual Blinding Silhouette cooldown. I'll show you guys how that looks in just a moment. But essentially, this is going to be like the bread and butter of playing Magiblade. This is kind of like, at this point, you're fully online. You're Blinding Silhouetting, so you're popping a Blinding Silhouette. You're trying to build up that bar with the Blinding Silhouette energy to make sure by the time you press that third Blinding Silhouette, you reset the cooldown on Blinding Silhouette. You'll be able to do that a total of 9 times with the cooldown. The last 3 that you'll press, the 12 that you'll press, it's just going to be spamming them, because you're not going to have enough time to actually build up anything in between. Now, keep in mind that if you happen to get to the third cast, like let's say you do your first 2 casts and your Blinding Silhouette energy is full, but you don't cast it the third time, it still resets the cooldown. You just don't get the damage for that Blinding Silhouette. So again, we'll show it. It'll make more sense when I'm showing it to you. It's kind of hard to explain just talking about it, but it'll make more sense when I'm showing it to you. We lucked out with Zerker being so straightforward, I could just talk about it, but I felt like showing off this stuff is going to be better overall. Crescent Blade, just shockwaves. It's nice. Does damage. Good stuff. Moonshadow, more shockwaves on your Crescent Blade. Again, does damage. Is nice. Helps you build up that Blinding Silhouette bar that much easier. So, good stuff. Illusion Flash, does damage, moves you through your target. Pretty solid. Magic Imbuement makes it so your attacks have extra magic damage on top of it. Basically, you just do this on cooldown. Solid move. Love to see it. Unlocking Sword on High. Sword on High is actually really, really nice because it drops a damage sword on top of the target and then does an AoE around them and kind of continuously ticks. Really, really good for building Blinding Silhouette bar and of course just doing damage in general. Here's where Magiblade now scales up even further. So, Magiblade channeled Arrow Blade, Sword Tornado, Unsheathed Sword Spirit, Illusion Flash, Sword on High Determination, Triple Flash, and Formation Shattered Sun. All of these skills gain extra hits that deal 50% damage based on your attack speed. So as long as you have more attack speed, you're going to get extra damage on all of your skills. The TLDR is Magiblade scales insanely high on attack speed. Just from its kit alone, you're getting extra hits on a lot of your skills with extra attack speed. You're getting extra attack speed for just pressing skills in the first place. And of course, you're set up to basically spam a lot of skills to begin with. So Magiblade has a lot of skills that are kind of like in between pieces. So for example, at 50, you unlock Sword Mark. With Sword Mark, whenever you cast it originally, it just marks the target. If you cast it again, you fly at your target. Now I have this skilled. I don't think this is actually worth it. I don't think this is worth skilling unless you are PvPing. In PvE, you're gonna be right next to your target anyway most of the time. Like you can go for this. I don't think this is worth skilling actually. I think it's better off to take this off and put the points up here or something like that. And then you have Triple Flash, or as most of us probably know it as Judgment Cut. It just does damage. That's about it. Everything along with Wild Dance does extra hits, but as far as just attacks itself, it's just how it is. It's pretty solid. Magic Imbuement doubles the bonus of Swift Shadow. So you get even more stacks of attack speed. everything is about attack speed. You're scaling attack speed like crazy. Eventually you're going to get Formation Shattered Sun. It just does a bunch of damage. Pretty straightforward. In case you're going through the leveling process and you're curious as to like, what should I use, anything along those lines, like we went through everything as far as like skills to upgrade and what you should be using. It's just more to have skills basically. And then of course trend towards the better used skills, of course, finding silhouette, all that good stuff. But a couple of things you can do kind of like to cheat the system a little bit if you really don't want to spend a bunch of time reading a bunch of skills or having to figure everything out yourself. I'll use a different preset for this, but there's also a recommended build button you can click and it will put skills in for you. Now, it's not perfect. It's going to put more skills in that you're actually using. For example, it puts skill points in here, even though you're not using any of these skills at all. So it's not perfect. It's not even amazing, but it will get you started very, very quickly. Now, of course, whenever you're going through the leveling process, you're going to get more skill points, right? Well, you can just press reset and then the button comes back again. This is recommended build. So, and of course, you make your edits afterwards. Like, for example, I can just downgrade this. I know we don't need it. We can downgrade that. We can downgrade this. Downgrade this first, then downgrade this. We can downgrade that. We're not using it. We can downgrade this. We're not using it. We know we're not using all of the ults, so there's no reason for them to be skilled. This recommended button is terrible for that reason. We're not using tornadoes. We can, unskill that, and then bam, we have all the other skills that we're actually going to be using skilled in. We can just go ahead and take a look. Oh, blinding flash isn't capped yet. We can cap blinding flash, or push points here. We can push points here, right? Like, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Makes things easy for you. Gets everything on the board. Lets you know kind of how to use them. You can kind of experiment, see how you like certain things, how you want to place them. And if that doesn't work, you can always just click rankings, click your specific class. So in this case, Magiblade. This is like the highest ranked Magiblade we have available. You can see these are the skills they use. This is how many points they have in each of them. As you can see, their blinding flash is very, very high. That's it. There you go. So in case you decide that you want to go through things much quicker, much simpler, well, you can cheat by copying homework. So what have we learned in Magiblade? Well, it boils down to it. The idea is you want to blinding silhouette, and you want to blinding silhouette as much as you possibly can while building up blinding silhouette bar. I'll show you what it looks like really quick. So if we press blinding silhouette, we can see the bar that's here, right? And now we have a bit of time to build that bar up. We can press another blinding silhouette to give ourselves some more time. And when the bar is full, if we press blinding silhouette a third time, it resets the cooldown. And now if we do that again, we can build up the bar again. And then a third time, we have less time this time. As you can see, I screwed up actually there, but because my bar was full, I still got the reset. And then the fourth time, I think it's reset back down. And you can see that now I have no skills really to use to build this up. And it reset, but I didn't get the cooldown back because I didn't have a full bar. So you're more or less going to be trying to blinding silhouette as much as possible, at least in a 4-set rotation. So you're gonna be able to get a total of 12 blinding silhouettes. Now, if you want to practice this, I'd recommend coming over here and going to the blinding silhouette challenge. And it's gonna ask you to blinding silhouette 12 times in a row. This is what we're gonna try to do here really quick. So blinding silhouette into our ult. Another ult. Another blinding silhouette chain. And then the last one. And the 12. And that's pretty much it. That's how it's going to work out as far as playing Magiblade. Now, this is more difficult to do in an actual fight. But what you'll find is, at least from what I've noticed, Magiblade does more single target damage than my Berserker. Berserker does definitely crazy AoE damage. But in a single target boss fight, if you're able to actually manage your silhouettes properly, you actually can get quite a bit of damage. The only problem is that it's like not exact burst damage because you have like a little bit of setup. And then when you don't have anything, you just want to press the skill at least once every 10 seconds. And I'm just going to let this play out really quick to make sure I maintain. Now, again, I'm not perfect at this. I'm actually pretty bad at this. But I'm going to let this run through. I have 30 seconds, so I'm going to hold on to some skills. And then let these rip. I actually messed up completely. Like I said, it's really easy to mess up Magiblade. We're just going to go ahead and rip this. I don't have a lot of time left anyway. Yeah, as you can see, you can mess up fairly easily. Yeah, that's completely wrong, because like I said, I had 24 blinding. This should be about 31 over the course of 2 minutes, easily. I'm going to try that again without talking, and maybe I'll have that included in the video. Let me run that back real quick. I should have pressed more buttons early on, but there you go. That's 30 blinding silhouettes. Technically, you could fit in one more if you play it right, but blinding silhouette is more or less your most damage. You want to push out as many blinding silhouettes as you can and make sure that you actually get those right. In combat, that's going to be way harder to do. Like, by far harder to complete, but you get the idea. And that's pretty much it when it comes to Magiblade. It honestly is one of those moments where you look at the classes and it feels definitely like the Virgil to a Dante when you're looking at Zerker and a Magiblade. I can understand why a lot of people see Magiblade's not doing a lot of damage, because it's really easy to mess Magiblade up. If you're not really good with your blinding silhouettes and you aren't good with your cooldown management, you're going to end up in a situation where you just don't have the buttons to press consistently. However, that's actually handled by gear, funny enough. The reason why I said you stack tons and 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 tons of attack speed is later on when you're crafting your best in slot gear, your set bonus stacks with attack speed. So your 2-piece set bonus gives you Electro Rhythm. Whenever you get 100 attack speed, 20 cooldown. Whenever you get 200 attack speed, 5% crit rate. Whenever you get 300 attack speed, 8% crit damage. If you go down even further, for every 15 attack speed you have over 300, you gain skill damage. And on top of that, at a 5-piece set bonus, when casting Blinding Silhouette, you reduce all your skill cooldowns. So yeah, stack attack speed. Stack a lot of attack speed on Magiblade. Like as much as you can. I'm sure there's a breakpoint for it. Honestly, it doesn't seem like it makes any sense to have a breakpoint, because every 15 you have over 300 is just more skill damage. So if you're looking for, oh, what stat should I stack on my Magiblade? Attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, I'd imagine. Probably more crit damage than crit rate, since you have a skill that quite literally causes your extra hits to guaranteed crit. So I'd say probably more crit damage than crit rate, maybe a 1-to-2 ratio, 50% crit rate, 100% crit damage. But get the offensive stats you can get, and then cooldown. And you're going to be doing insane amounts of single target damage. You'll do decent cleave damage, but you'll be doing some insane single target damage on your Magiblade. Hopefully that helps. Like I said, I'm not a full-on expert. I'm not perfect at playing this. I have a general understanding of how the class actually plays, and hopefully that translated to you guys in this guide today. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading through the comments as I usually do. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more. As always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.